So I'm touring a property today that's a townhouse style property with some excess land for sale with it. So the question is, how do you value the land in this equation? Because they're offering the property, the units, and the land as one price. So it's a cap rate deal. There is a net operating income factor into this. It's a value add play. Somebody else has come into the property and they've done the value add. It's a decent neighborhood around it, just a older, probably Class C neighborhood just because of the type of construction, but all the houses are decent, good sized, well kept. Yards, everybody seems to be keeping their yards up and their properties up nicely. This is surrounding the property. There's a nice community center on the other side that we're driving by right now, recreation center on the other side of the property. And we're going to be driving through this property here in a second, just taking a look to see what kind of condition it's in. First thing I look at is the signage, the landscaping, the roads, all of that, and then you start looking at the buildings. This is a value add play. Somebody else bought this, renovated the units, the exteriors, all of the landscaping, everything looks like it's in good shape. You want to take a look at the cars. What do the cars look like? So that gives you an idea of what your tenant demographic looks like. Are there kids? Do you see playground equipment and toys and things like that? So, it's just a general townhouse style property with a pool, nothing fancy, but the land to develop is interesting, okay? Because that's where the real value is down the road. So how do you value that land? So there's a couple of ways. One is you've got to figure out what your development costs are to begin with of the property. So how much is it going to cost to develop the land itself to get it ready to build? Then how much is it going to cost you to develop the units, and what kind of income can you derive from that, and does it even make sense? Can you even generate a profit or cover your costs? Number one. So you look at comps. How much is land, in this case multifamily or townhouse land, going for? So that's your play there. Is the land can be used as for sale townhouses, or it can be used as for rent multifamily, and you want to figure out the highest and best use. So the biggest issue is, what is it going to cost to develop the land? What is it going to cost to build the buildings? And what is the density you're going to get out of it? How does that relate to the income? So you work it backwards that way, and generally you got to start with the end value in mind. If you know that you can derive X amount of rent for the units, then that's going to generate a value based on the cap rate, and you work it all backwards. If you've got a 20%, generally you want a 20% margin if you're going to build a property. You take that net operating income divided by the cap rate, gives you a value. Subtract 20% from that, that's your profit. You've also got your building costs in there, so you got to subtract your building costs, and then you have a number left, and you've got to subtract your development cost of the land from that, and then that will leave you a base number, base value of the raw land as it sits. And then you look at that, how does that relate to the tax value, the comps, and those types of things in the area. So basically you just work that formula backwards to get to a base value of the land. And in some cases, when you buy the asset, the cap rate income play, the land is a bonus. It's almost like it's kind of extra thrown in. But before you get excited, make sure you can develop that land. Talk to the city, county, planning and zoning. Make sure you know that it can be developed. What does the topography look like? What's it going to take? Are there any stormwater issues, other issues, things like that? So this is multifamily walkthrough today, looking at this asset. It just hit the market. It is for sale. And the question is the development potential worth it, or are you buying it just for the existing properties themselves? Based on what I just saw looking at the land, it doesn't lay very well, so the future development would be difficult and tricky, but it can be done. And the question is, do you build them for sale or do you build them for rent? So the numbers will tell you that. The truth is in the numbers. Let the numbers make the decision for you. It takes the emotion, guesswork, and gut work out of the equation. Of course, you want to always go with your gut instincts, but let the numbers guide you.